A river can serve a number of purposes. It can be a home for wildlife, a natural water source, and even a place to swim, cool down, or cruise on a boat. However, these rivers that we have come to rely on for all facets of life can also contain hidden risks. That's right. When it comes to your local river, danger can lurk around every corner. From the raging river where thousands of grizzly bears gather each year to feast, to the deadly microbacteria that can kill swimmers in a heartbeat. If you see this in a river, get away fast. Monster river python. Check out this monster river python. This absolutely enormous snake was found slithering through the swamps of Sumatra, much to the horror of this unsuspecting YouTuber. Alarmingly, the water python is not just incredibly quick in the water, but it can also climb trees and navigate the wetlands of the swamp. In other words, you can run, but you can't hide. This gigantic, cold-blooded python is non-venomous, but it has a much more gruesome way of dispatching its prey. Yeah, the incredibly powerful water python constricts its victim, literally squeezing the life out of their meal. If you see one of these beasts working their way down the river, you don't even need to think twice. It's time to run for your life. Hey, did you know that if you smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell, you're more likely to win the lottery? So what are you waiting for? Waves of the Zambezi. Welcome to the Zambezi River, a body of water so dangerous that only the bravest swimmers would dare to venture there. This African river consists of countless waterways and waterfalls, including the world-famous Victoria Falls. So what makes this beautiful river so deadly? Well, there's a whole plethora of reasons that you should avoid the waves of the Zambezi at all costs. First, the rapids in this 3,000-kilometer river are phenomenally fast and can easily sweep away the most experienced swimmers. Not to mention the giant rocks and trenches hidden beneath the surface of the water. But that's not all. Wildlife surveys in the area have counted as many as 188,000 crocodiles and 90,000 hippos living along the length of the Zambezi. And there are even killer sharks feeding in this treacherous river. Oh yeah, and there's also unexploded mines scattered along the banks of the world's most dangerous waterway. And yet, despite the dangers of the Zambezi, there are still tens of thousands of tourists who come here each and every year to take part in extreme sports like kayaking and surfing. There's extreme, and then there's this. Would you dare dive in the Zambezi River? Let us know in the comments below. Brutus and Dominator. This epic fight will go down in crocodile history. Brutus versus Dominator has to be one of the most savage battles we've ever witnessed. These 20-foot crocs were filmed fighting by flabbergasted tourists, and it's believed that the two ancient reptiles have had beef with one another for years. Tour operators along the Adelaide River in Australia have tried to keep these brutal crocodiles separate for a long time, but as you can see, there's nothing you can do when these killing machines decide to finally settle the score once and for all. Crocs Brutus and Dominator were battling over territory when they were sighted by onlookers of a boat tour, but having a live audience only seemed to spur them on. If these tourists aren't careful, they might end up losing a lot more than their camera phone. Yet when it comes to a crocodile drama, we'd steer well clear. Toxic cyanobacteria. Not all river monsters have teeth. In fact, this toxic bacteria can kill you quicker than any fanged beast. Cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae, can thrive in both freshwater and saltwater, and typically multiplies in warm, stagnant water rich in nutrients. Yet just about any river is susceptible to the potential threat of killer cyanobacteria, but it's mostly found in bodies of water where high levels of fertilizer or septic tank overflows are present, and when it blooms, you'll know about it. Yeah, this stuff really stinks. It's been described as smelling like rotten meat or vegetables and can contain such high concentrations of deadly cyanotoxins that it can kill humans and animals who come too close to the water's edge. But even if you're not in the water, cyanobacteria can still impact your health. This algae can accumulate in fish and shellfish, which if consumed can cause serious food poisoning. Forget about sharks and crocodiles, it's bacteria you should really be scared of. World's deadliest volta eel. Just when you thought the world couldn't get any more dangerous, explorers have just discovered a brand new species, and it's the deadliest eel on the planet. Yeah, this killer eel has a shocking superpower, literally. The Volta eel can deliver an electric shock of 860 volts and is thought to produce the most electricity out of any creature on Earth. Who else kinda wishes we'd never found this sinister river monster? This newfound eel lives deep in the Amazon rainforest and can generate 3 times the voltage of your average plug socket. Basically, it could knock a fully grown human in one jolt. If you spot one of these in the water, all you can do is run. But make sure you make a speedy getaway, because these dangerous beasts are capable of leaping out of the river and through the air to hunt down their victims. It's like a flying cable. Scientists have even caught them working together in packs to corner their prey. We don't know where the Volta eel has been hiding all these years, but we kind of wish it would go back there. Grizzly fish feast. If we told you there was a location where thousands of grizzly bears gather to feast to their heart's content, you'd probably avoid that place at all costs, right? Well, that's certainly not the case for these brave, or perhaps foolish, wildlife enthusiasts. Every summer, people travel for miles around to Katmai National Park in Alaska to witness the salmon run. Over 1 million fish swim from the ocean up freshwater streams and into rivers, and the local grizzly bears turn up in their droves to enjoy the delicious seafood buffet. While grizzlies are usually solitary creatures, each year they make the exception and gather in large numbers to catch salmon by the river. There are thought to be roughly 2,200 grizzly bears in Katmai National Park, and they can reach a whopping 10 feet in length and 1,000 pounds in weight. In fact, the Alaskan park has one of the highest densities of grizzly bears on the planet. Luckily, special walkways and bridges have been installed to keep tourists out of harm's way during this exciting annual event, but the park rangers still make sure to warn visitors about the dangers of bear attacks during their stay. Because let's face it, being outnumbered by hungry bears isn't an ideal scenario. You don't want to end up being the main course on the grizzly bear set menu. The mutant sturtlefish. When will scientists finally learn their lesson? You should never mess with nature. The mutant fish is a direct result of a freaky experiment conducted by researchers trying to save 2 endangered species of fish. However, their project seems to have seriously backfired. The sturtlefish is a hybrid of the American paddlefish and the Russian sturgeon, and was created by total accident in 2019. This isn't the first time we've seen hybrid animals like the liger offspring from a lion and a tiger, but it's one of the weirdest. So what makes this bizarre hybrid so unnatural? Well, it's all down to ancestry. You see, the sturgeon and the paddlefish haven't shared a common ancestor in 184 million years. To add some perspective, that's almost twice the divergence time between mice and humans. Pretty freaky, right? Their most recent family member in common would have been during the early Jurassic period, which is funny because this messed up hybrid creature kind of reminds me of something from Jurassic Park. Hundreds of sturtlefish were created in the lab, with roughly 100 individuals living for a whole year. Needless to say, scientists don't plan on making any more. We think that might be for the best. What about you? High-speed riverboat racing. Start your engines, because this wild water sport requires some serious speed. Yeah, we're talking about long-tail boat racing, a fast and furious competition that started in Southeast Asia. So what exactly is a long-tail boat? This makeshift watercraft is usually cobbled together using the parts of a small kayak-style boat and souped up with a massive car or truck engine. If you ever wondered what a motorized canoe might look like, well, this is it. These ultra-high speed races are held throughout the provinces of Thailand, and contestants can easily exceed speeds of 100 miles per hour on their customized long-tail boats. When it comes to health and safety, well, there is none. Racers can be seen driving their vehicles with no life vests, no seats, and no steering wheel, with nothing to fall back on if their boat crashes. Luckily, most of the participants of this crazy river race seem pretty experienced. As for prize money, the cash reward is very little, but we reckon these risk-taking racers must do this sport for their sheer adrenaline rush alone. Move over, fish. We've got a race to win. Deadly freshwater snails. What's the most dangerous animal in the world? A shark? Maybe a venomous snake? Nope, it's actually one of these tiny creatures. The innocuous freshwater snail may seem harmless, but it's actually one of the deadliest animals on the planet. Who knew? This little snail kills 200,000 people every year. due to a lethal parasite called schistosomiasis. The mollusk carries the parasite and infects the surrounding water, causing a slow and painful death to whoever comes into contact with it. In fact, freshwater snails kill more humans than sharks, lions, tigers, and bears combined every year. They live in lakes and rivers throughout Asia, Africa, and South America, wreaking havoc in fresh water across the globe. It doesn't matter if you drink the water or even swim in the water. This deadly parasite will find its way into your internal organs through your skin, laying eggs inside you that will kill you after days, months, or even years. Yeah, you could be infected with snail fever and not even know it. Now that's seriously creepy. Nile River crocodiles. The Nile is the longest river in the world, so you better believe that there's some danger lurking along the way. This epic African river spans for a whopping 6,650 kilometers, flowing through 11 countries and into the Mediterranean Sea. But the biggest monster in these waters has to be the infamous Nile crocodile, an enormous ancient creature that can reach up to 16 feet long and weigh over 1,600 pounds. When it comes to being king of the river, there's no doubt about it, the Nile crocodile takes the throne every time. But these killer reptiles aren't just extremely dangerous, they're super adaptable as well. These giant crocs can live in freshwater or saltwater, making them a serious threat to no matter where you are along the river. These huge aquatic reptiles can also hold their breath for an alarmingly long time underwater, going without oxygen for 30 minutes at a time in order to stalk their prey. Yep, even if you can't see a Nile crocodile, one could be much closer than you think. They're responsible for anywhere between 200 and 300 human deaths each year and can take down animals much larger than themselves, including elephants and hippos. Well, if these gigantic mammals can't escape the clutches of a crocodile, what chances do we have? Radiated catfish. Chernobyl is home to one of the biggest nuclear disasters of all time, and over 30 years later, researchers are still trying to figure out exactly how much damage was done on that fateful day in 1986. In fact, for decades, there have been rumors of mutant animals living in and around the radiation zone, left in total isolation to breed for generations. One such creature is the radioactive catfish, believed to live in the cooling pond of the abandoned Chernobyl power plant. These catfish are a species famous for reaching gigantic proportions and can reach a whopping 800 pounds. With no natural predators on the nuclear site, these catfish are said to be running rampant, eating other fish, birds, and even small mammals, growing larger and larger over their long lifespans of almost half a century. Fishing in Chernobyl is heavily restricted, and for a good reason. We definitely wouldn't want to catch one of these mutant creatures. Radioactive fish and chips, anyone? Monster alligator gar. This freaky fish has giant fangs and a long croc-like snout, but wildlife experts claim that this living fossil is one of the most misunderstood creatures in our rivers. Yeah, it may look like a monster that would haunt your nightmares, but the alligator gar is supposedly harmless to humans. These peculiar fish can reach over 8 feet long and weigh a hefty 327 pounds, but they're really nothing to be afraid of. In fact, to date, there have been no confirmed attacks on people. Found mostly in rivers and lakes in the southern United States, the alligator gar has been around since the Cretaceous period and can be recognized by their torpedo-shaped bodies, bony scales, and eerie resemblance to a crocodile. But that's about all they have in common with actual alligators. The gar is reportedly quite slow and tame, and many can reach the ripe old age of 90 years old. On the exotic fish market, collectors will pay as much as $40,000 for the privilege of keeping one of these creepy creatures in their private aquarium. Hey, it's not our first choice of pet, but to each their own, I guess. Goliath tigerfish. This ultra-aggressive fish is so fierce that it eats crocodiles for breakfast. We're of course talking about the legendary Goliath tigerfish. Known by their scientific name, Hydrocynus goliath, this ferocious fish is found in the Congo River in Africa and can reach gargantuan proportions. The largest tigerfish ever caught weighed 154 pounds and was almost 3 feet long. They have razor-sharp teeth set in a powerful set of jaws, which they use for devouring all kinds of prey, including, baby crocodiles. It's safe to say that you don't want to mess with this fearsome Goliath tigerfish. If you see one of these giant fish in the river, it's definitely time to swim to shore. The pacu fish. This eerie fish is out of this world. The pacu fish, usually found in the Amazon River, has a very disturbing facial feature. It's horrifying human teeth. That's right, the pacu has a mouth full of molars, and they're not afraid to use them. Pretty creepy, right? These river monsters are said to enjoy the taste of flesh, but experts say that these weirdly human teeth are actually used for crushing food rather than tearing apart meat. That's the good news, but are you ready for the bad news? These super freaky fish are venturing out of the Amazon and into North American waters. Yup, pacu fish have actually been spotted swimming in lakes in the United States, and if their population increases, they could even become an invasive species. A creepy pacu fish was sighted in a lake in New Jersey, and local authorities suspected that an exotic fish collector dumping a specimen that grew too large for their aquarium was probably to blame for this unusual discovery. Could this bizarre human-toothed fish become a regular sight in the US? Only time will tell. Amazonian bull sharks. If you thought you were safe from sharks in the river, then think again. These hyper-aggressive sharks love swimming in shallow waters and will attack just about anything that crosses its path, and that includes rogue humans. Yet bull sharks are one of the most angry and ferocious predators on the planet, and they have no qualms with leaving the vast expanse of the ocean in search of easy prey on the riverbanks of the Amazon. They'll munch down on jaguars, crocs, anacondas, and any other creature that ventures into their territory, and if they're not terrorizing the river, they might even hop over to a pond or a lake. In fact, a golf club in Australia recently found a family of bull sharks living in the lake on their course. They'll also hunt on busy beaches in countries like Brazil and are said to be even more dangerous and aggressive than great white sharks. Yet bull sharks just became our new worst nightmare. Well, we don't know about you, but we'll never look at a river in the same way again. Deadly creatures are lurking around every corner, waiting for their moment to strike. Which one of these dangerous aquatic monsters should be crowned the king of the river? You can let us know what you think in the comment section below. And don't forget to give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.